after the first take, Leone says, "Oh, that was great, but on the second take, can you lift your head up a bit more?" And Eli Wallach was already saying, that was pretty dangerous enough. I think we're good. And if he does lift his head up more, that's lights out. So apparently, a Sergio Leone set is not the safest place to be.
Also, watching it again today, I had it on in the background, and I noticed how the train, when it comes by, it totally drags that dude's body.
Yeah.
And you can see, the body underneath, that it gets dragged for quite a while. And then of course it's left behind. But I'm just like, man, that is so. If that guy was alive, still, because when
you get caught up in the gears underneath.
Ugh. And then when he yanks him off the train, like, they both could have been hurt. Like, he's lucky. Tuco's lucky that he wasn't injured in some severe way, just with that. And then the guard looks like he was just unconscious, and then he, like you said, he brains him with the rock and makes sure that he's at least, he thinks he's dead, But brutal.
I should mention that we talk a lot about Eli Wallach in the film, but that's because he's fantastic and he runs away with the movie. I think the misconception about Eli Wallach is that he got the part based on his performance in The Magnificent Seven, because he's the villain in The Magnificent Seven. But according to Leone, he liked them in How the West Was Won, which I think is a few years after The Magnificent Seven, which I haven't seen How the West Was Won, so I can't attest to how good he is in that, but I'm sure he's fantastic. I just know that according to Leone, he was really impressed with his work in that film, and that's what got him The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly.
Do you know, is he still with us? He's still alive?
No, he passed away in 2014.
Oh, 2014.
Unfortunately. But was working pretty close to the end. He was still working. I know he had popped up in some movies, within that last decade of his life. One of the ones I was always super excited. He's got a cameo in Mystic River, and I was like super giddy when I saw that. Most all those comic book fanboys flip out because Captain America gets like Thor's hammer or some shit. but like when I see Eli Wallach in Mystic River, like, I get super giddy. Because I'm like, oh, he was in Good, the Bad, and the Ugly with Clint Eastwood. Around the time that Mystic River was being made was the time that they were redubbing the restored scenes.
Okay.
For the restored version of the film. So Wallach and Eastwood cross paths again, and that's how Eli Wallach has that cameo as the liquor shop owner in Mystic River. Just a little FYI trivia.
It's funny you bring up Mystic River. I just watched that last month for the first time in a lot of several years, and I really fucking enjoyed it.
It's a good movie. I know some people want to give it some shit sometimes.
It's dark material, but I mean, shit, man. Oh, God. Sean Penn is so good.
Yeah.
Everybody's so good in that.
So that movie was being made the same time they were restoring The Good, the Bad, and the Ugly. But yeah, when I saw that, I'm running the film, for myself in the early morning after I put it together, and saw that and was like, whoa, that's great. That's Eli Wallach. That's awesome. Oh, what's another Eli Wallach, like a great part in this film? A great Tuco line is after he escapes the train, and they end up in that bombed-out town, and Blondie and Angel Eyes and that crew comes through there. The gunman from the very beginning, the one that was wounded but not killed.
Okay.
If you see in the very beginning, he's shot in the arm. He's the one that takes the shot at Tuco as he's fleeing.
Oh, okay. You're setting up the line in the when he's in the tub, correct?
Yes, probably the best line in the film, my opinion. Tuco goes through the town, goes into a hotel, is super excited to take a bath, and as he sees the bath, the bath is all set up, and there's like the bath salts and like all the smelly stuff, and he takes like each bottle and he smells it and dumps some of it into the bathtub. And he's sitting there and he's almost like a kid. He's like playing with the bubbles and everything and having such a good time, but that gunman from the beginning is stalking him and busts in on him and has the gun in his face, and instead of shooting him, starts going into his little monologue about, I've been looking for you for 8 months. Every time I should have been holding a gun in my right hand. I thought of you because the arm that he was shot in the beginning is his right arm, and he lost the right arm somewhere along the way. Probably due to that, well, I shouldn't say probably. We're to assume due to the shot that he gets from Tuco, the gunshot wound. And he's going into like this long monologue about, so now I'm gonna kill you and whatever, and Tuco just shoots him like up through the water.
Yeah.
And then he steps out of the bathtub and he shoots him a few more times. And then he tells him, he says, hey, next time you have to shoot, don't talk. Which is so funny, and apparently that was an improv line. That wasn't in the script. Eli Wallach just improvised that during the scene, and Leone laughed so hard he loved it, he kept it in the movie. But I mean, it's true. I mean, how many movies have you and I seen where the bad guy or some henchman has to have this long ass monologue when instead he should have just killed the guy?
Yeah, they stall and it ends up being their demise.
Yeah, and then the hero gets the better of them because of it.
Yeah, if he had just busted in on him and capped him, Tuco probably would have been killed.
You said there's a good, not necessarily an homage, but, a good reference in Last Action Hero where Danny talks to, God, what's the character's name? It's F. Murray Abraham.
I forget. He's one of the detectives.
Practice. It's John Practice.
Uh-huh.
Yeah, and then Danny mentions that, if you would have just, you just kept talking. So that's one of my favorite lines ever, but definitely my favorite line in the movie, where it's just, hey, and next time you have to shoot, you better shoot. Don't talk.
All right. Last but not least, let's talk about Blondie.
Well, Blondie, Clint Eastwood. I mean, we've talked already. These films, the Leone films, are what made him. He wasn't getting any respect stateside. He was just a TV actor. And these films made him. And Blondie is... they're all amoral characters. But, like, it almost seems like Blondie is the most. He's the good.
Yeah.
He's the titular good. Even though, as we mentioned, he's definitely the deadliest guy.
I would say he's maybe like the lesser evil. That's how you have to look at it in the context of the story.
Yeah, he's not as ruthless as Angel Eyes, but he's definitely not a good guy. He's definitely a killer. He's definitely someone that's using both Tuco and Angel Eyes eventually.
Yeah, he definitely
through
has
his own means.
He has the outlaw mentality.
I mean, we've talked about he ditches Tuco when he's no longer useful to him.
Yeah, and he just leaves him to. I mean, Tuco could have easily died in the desert.
There's the great scene where after he ditches Tuco, and Tuco's chasing him, Blondie hooks up with another guy, and he's running that same grift, where he captures the guy, collects the bounty, and then frees him from the hangman's noose.
Do you remember the guy's name?
Oh man, what's the guy's name?
I was really asking because I'm trying. Because there's Tuco catches them in the act where they're trying to do the same as you were saying right now, the same kind of setup, and he's gonna shoot him down right before they hang him, but Tuco interrupts that interaction, and then the guy ends up being hung for real. But I can't.
But what's really funny is, I think it's Shorty, but I could be wrong.
That sounds correct.
What's really funny is, Tuco's got the gun to Blondie's head, and Blondie turns towards him, and for the sake of giving the guy a name, he says, what about Shorty? And Tuco looks over, and then looks back at Blondie and just shakes his head no. So then, they hang him for real, because Tuco wouldn't let him shoot the rope.
And then there's a great shot of Tuco, and he sees like them actually when the horse takes off, and they really hang him, and he's just like disgusted. He looks over like, ah.
But he's the one that let it happen. Oh man. So, what about anything else with Blondie? I know that we didn't spend nearly the time with him that we spend on Tuco and Angel Eyes.
Well, I mean, he definitely has interactions within Angel Eyes and Tuco, so we did talk about him in the background, I suppose, but
and it's mentioned through some of the dialogue and the interaction that they all know each other somehow. I mean, obviously Blondie and Tuco know each other, but Angel Eyes seems to know them. Angel Eyes knows, the grift that they're running in the beginning when he sees them. He knows that I think he says, he tells the lady that Tuco's got a blonde-haired angel, referring to Blondie. But they all know each other, when they show up in the camp. Tuco points out, hey, it's Angel Eyes. So we never really get how, and we don't need to know, honestly, how they know each other. But I always thought that was interesting. They're not strangers to Angel Eyes.
No, there's like a because you notice Angel Eyes sees them around in certain situations where he could have done something or stepped in, and he just lets them kind of go. Right?
Yeah.
And circling back to Blondie, I really liked in the prison encampment when they bring in, they already ship off Tuco, and they bring in Blondie, and Angel Eyes kind of confronts him. He just pretty much is like, yeah, we're going to team up because you have the information, that I need. And Blondie looks at him kind of confused, and he's like,